Hello everybody. Welcome to Creating the Basic Adaptable Game Engine Library, Part 56, Asteroids, Additional Features. Well, at this point, the Asteroids game is looking pretty good. Just a recap of where we are, here's the code. If we go ahead and run the game, we have really a lot of the core features. I would say all of the core features have been implemented. So, the class is compiling. Right? We have a certain number of asteroids which spin out and away, and every time they're destroyed, you get more asteroids appearing. Right, there are still a few features you would really need to add to this game in order to consider it complete. And so, let's talk about those. Right, we need some kind of a conclusion for the game experience for the player. We need a sense of closure. So, for example, a win message. Right? If all the rocks are destroyed, right, if the rock group dot size is equal to 0, then you should stop the game and display some kind of a win message. Congratulations. Similarly, we need to implement the lose message as well. We started that. Right? There's a place for it in the code as it stands. And in that case, you'll want to maybe destroy the spaceship, maybe make a really big explosion, and display a game over message. And then, if you look at the update function, kind of like we did for the previous game, right, you'll want to see if a win message or a lose message is being displayed, then you return out of the update loop early, the game is over. Players also like earning points, right? It gives you a feeling of accomplishment in addition to the cool explosions. So it'd be great to add some kind of label that displays score. And especially if you lose the game before it's over, the score gives you a way of determining how well you've done and a way to gauge your progress as you continue to play the game. And in addition, you might want to award points depending on the size of the rocks. Maybe 100 points for a large rock and 200 points for a small rock because they're harder to hit. Possibly one of the more important features you might want to consider adding is somehow limiting the rate of fire. Right? As we tested out the game, we realized that it's pretty easy to win if you just spin in place and then just hit the fire key as quickly as possible. Right? So somehow limiting the rate of fire. For instance, you could have only one laser appear every X seconds, right? Maybe you can only shoot one laser every second. Or maybe there's a maximum number of lasers you can have on the screen at once, right? This would probably be easier to implement. Maybe you can only have 2 lasers on the screen at once, or maybe even only 1 on the screen at once. Right? You would add a second condition to that if statement if the space bar has just been pressed and there's no lasers on the screen, or there's less than X lasers, then you're allowed to fire another laser. Right? But to really make the game challenging enough to force the player to move around and dodge some of those asteroids, you probably want to limit the rate of fire. You could also add an additional challenge as well, some kind of time limit. Right? How long do you have to destroy all the asteroids? And if you also limit the rate of fire, you have to think about this time limit, right? You want to make the game challenging but possible to accomplish. So you'll also need to play test your game a bit. And then, if you add in this additional challenge, you could also modify a final score. Right now, if you just put in a win message, you might feel that you win the game and then that's it. But if you add some bonus to the final score, depending on the amount of time left, and maybe also a bonus depending on how much of your shields are left, then you might encourage the player, even if they've won the game, to try harder and to do better at winning the game, right? By shooting more quickly and more accurately, and also being careful to not be hit by the shields. Right? Maybe you add another 10 points for every second that's left on the timer, and you multiply the amount of shields left by 1,000 and add that to your score. Something like that. Right? And I'm sure that if you sit and think for a while, you could think of other features which would be fun to add as well. But here are some pretty simple, straightforward ones you might want to try adding on your own. because that's the way you learn. You learn by doing. But that'll be it for the Asteroids game. And now, I think in future videos we'll try turning our attention to creating other games with this library as well. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.